Bold Bytes, your bite-sized guide to payments.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Bold Bytes. I'm your host, Robert Copeland, and here on Bold Bytes, we're diving into the fascinating, ever-evolving world of merchant processing. If you've ever swiped a card, tapped your phone, or clicked buy online, you've interacted with the merchant processing industry. It is the invisible engine that powers commerce, and today we're going to pull back the curtain and explore its inner workings. We'll talk about the latest trends, the biggest challenges, and the most innovative solutions shaping the future of payments. Whether you're a seasoned industry pro or just curious about how money moves in the digital age, Bold Bytes is your go-to source for insights, interviews, and analysis. So buckle up, grab your headphones, and get ready for a bold bite of knowledge. Welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce today's guest, Tony Lunnon. How you doing, Tony?
I'm good, Rob. Appreciate the invite, man.
Can you start off by just, letting everyone know how you got into the industry?
I was introduced to the industry when I was first coming out of college. Had never heard of payment processing, didn't know businesses had to pay to accept cards. And a restaurant I was working at, the owner, he was an ISO. And so he introduced me to it. That was in 2010. And when I graduated, I came on board with him, the smaller ISO, but we really built something out. From there, I just, started learning how the sales side worked, learned how the operations worked. A lot of it learned from making mistakes and learning how to get around those and, the next time. But that was how I kind of fell into the industry. And now that I'm here, I just, it hasn't been any looking back since.
And what is your current role at Priority Payments?
Priority Payments, I am a partner success manager. And we work with some of our top ISOs, focus on revenue and just helping them strategize, find products that fit different use cases where they can, really excel.
One of the exciting things about having you in today is I think you can help provide a perspective that not everyone gets to see it from, which is the processor side. We work with a lot of partners that are not traditionally in the merchant processing industry. They might be VARs, ISVs, and they've only worked with one processor. And then they come, sign up with us, and we obviously work with Priority Payments. And I think there's a lot of things that they don't understand about when you switch processors, or not all processors work the same. And so I was hoping that maybe if we could go through a little bit of that, and what you see, and maybe some advice that you would have, or just some of those nuggets that we could pass along to our partners. But in general, what are the most common things that you see when you have a new partner that comes and is working with Priority, that maybe, to us that are in the industry, it's like, this is how it works. But for them, it's something that, they don't understand why this is happening.
Yeah, I think the most obvious thing, the first thing that most ISOs ask about is rev shares and buy rates, right? But going past that, I think there's a lot more to gain from understanding how the processor that you work with can really help you operationally, can help you with revenue growth, and just really support what you're looking to do outside of just buy rates. Right, because if it's always down to the buy rate, there's always someone that's going to shave off a basis point here or give you an extra % here, which is nice. But again, it comes down to when something doesn't go right. Do you have somebody you can call, right? If you don't believe your commission is correct, is there somebody you can call and talk to about it? Do you have to send an email? Do you have to submit a ticket? If your merchants aren't happy with something, if a system isn't working right, what happens at that point? And I think those are really important pieces for ISOs to look at and consider. Again, just does the processor they're working with have the tools that they need to help them grow and just help them be successful in the industry?
Yeah. And then once, you kind of make that decision, I think the next step would be business relationship or even a regular relationship. There's stages, so I've made a choice to go out on a date with this person. And now it's, hey, finding out and understanding how do they operate? Who are those people? What is their underwriting like? What does underwriting require? Can you speak to maybe some of those things?
Yeah, you guys are a great example, right? A lot of the ISVs and agents that you work with have needs that are different, right? And so I know one of the things that you guys are really good at is when you bring on an ISO or a new ISV, we will set up a call to speak with our leadership and underwriting and risk to go through, hey, this is a new ISV, this is the space they play in. and just making sure that they understand what's necessary for the smoothest interactions with us, right? And the smoothest interaction for their merchants. Because, if one is in the restaurant space and another one is in a subscription space, those are two different underwriting needs, right? Being able to, again, have somebody that you can talk with through those and set up processes that may be different.
You hit on a good point there. Even if we say we primarily work with restaurants, those VARs will get venturous sometimes and think that, hey, I'm going to sign up a catering company that's the same as a regular restaurant, and it's not. So the biggest thing is just, being upfront and having those discussions ahead of time. I know that's one of the things we appreciate with Priority is always the willingness to get on the phone. What other kind of issues or transitional things that you might see that happen when someone is, say, been you working with WorldPay or whatever processor, and then they're switching over to Priority?
Yeah, I think another thing that's good to understand is just like what expectations as far as timelines are to be considered, right? Like it may be different than what you're used to at your current processor, or if you're new, it may be different than what you're expecting it to be. Right. But like you said, being very transparent on both sides and having those conversations up front just helps with down the road where you understand what's going to happen. It helps build trust. And, that's another huge part of it, right? The people you're working with, do you trust what they say, right? And do you trust that they're going to do what they say they're going to do? And I'm sure a lot of people do look at that, but sometimes it gets overshadowed by, oh, well, I got 5% more over here. Right. But I think I'm just having the right expectations going into it helps.
The right expectations, getting set the right expectations. And that all comes from a healthy relationship and being able to have those open and honest conversations. I think that's one of the things that we see a lot is we don't necessarily get all the details about what the merchant does. And then that trickles down to issues down the road that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
And so it's always better to be upfront about it than try to hide it down. But one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you, Tony, about, especially considering that, your primary role is to help build revenue for ISOs, is the changing industry.
Yeah.
And those of us that are in it, we see it, but not everyone might see it. But it's not about merchant processing only nowadays. And can you speak
100%.
to a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think you hit that right on the head. It's really not just about the acquiring side, right? And to the earlier point, when you're just speaking acquiring, a lot of merchants just want to know how much you're going to save them, right? And not necessarily what value you can actually bring to them. So if you're able to tie in other products, or just some other embedded financial tools that will actually help drive value for that merchant or that customer. Now the conversation isn't revolving around, hey, how many basis points can you save me? It revolves around, hey, I'm giving you all of these tools or giving you this setup specific to your business that can help you accelerate cash flow, just help you out financially, and how much value does that bring to you, right? How much so it's more of a how much value does it bring to you? How much is that worth to you? And not how much can you save me?
Right.
Because if you're just speaking about what you can save them, here, I'll give you a terminal and save you 5 bips. When the next guy walks in the street and can save them 2, they're gonna switch again, right? But when you're able to tie in payroll, tie in banking, give them tools to help them spend their money just smarter. Now it's when somebody comes in that can save them 3 bips, they're not going anywhere because they've got all these other tools that you've provided them with that help them out.
Helps them be, as we like to call, more sticky. Let's just dive into a couple of those other tools or other value products. The one that always comes to mind first in my head with merchant processing is payroll.
Yeah.
Tell us, what does Priority have to offer, or what is there as far as payroll, what you see out there?
Yeah, so we have a payroll product, Priority Payroll, that we acquired not too long ago through Rollfi. It goes well with processing, right? Because again, you could be a point of sale provider and you're working with restaurants, and if you can tie in this payroll piece now too, they're doing their payments through your point of sale, they're doing their payroll through you. And if it's all embedded into your software, right, then that's just another tool of a reason why they're not going to leave. Because now if they want to leave, not only do they have to change over their point of sale and their processing, they have to get a whole new payroll provider too.
Right.
With it all working together from the same place, that helps with just make it seamless, and it helps with any support, or they can go to the same place to get all the help they need, right? So I think giving them one place to go to collect, store, lend, send money, that's going to make your account stickier.
So payroll, I'd say, is, the more traditional, but what I've been more curious about and trying to learn more about is more of the banking side.
Yeah.
I know it's something we've talked about. And so I'd like for you to maybe explain a little bit about, one, why did Priority have focused on this? I see it in the industry. There's many people doing it.
Yeah.
And then maybe if we could get into maybe some use cases to help. I know for myself, just thinking about it in the big picture, it's sometimes hard to understand how it can be beneficial. But when you start drilling down and looking at individual use cases, it really, the light goes off.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's the obvious, almost low-hanging fruit where a merchant gets set up with an account and they also get set up with a bank account where their batches are deposited. And a lot of times they'll use it more of like a wallet, right? The funds will hit that account, and then if they want to push it out to another account, they can. If they switch bank accounts, they don't then have to do a whole DDA change request, right? They just start sending their money to a separate account. They can, issue cards out to their employees and have them use it as an employee expense tool. That's a use case that gets used. Just any of the other banking features you would have with your traditional bank, right? If they need to send wires, they need to do ACHs out to people, they need to collect money. They could do that all within this account that, again, they log into their same portal to view their processing statements and can see their bank account there, right? If they're inside the bank side, can see their batch, click on it, and it'll show them the transaction details. It's all in one place. There's other use cases outside of it that usually larger ISVs and enterprise customers are coming in to use and kind of tie in the bank in. And it helps them with everything from like doing almost split funding on batches, right? They can, they just have the ability to move money around the way that they need to for their merchants. Or maybe it's not about moving money. Maybe it's strictly about issuing cards to their sales agents. Hey, we're going to issue cards where we pay your commissions to.
That then they can use anywhere, right?
Exactly.
They'll have a digital card or.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then from the ISO standpoint, it's huge, right? Because now you're giving them a tool that actually helps their business that you don't have to charge them for, and you make revenue off of it, right? You're earning revenue on the interest, you're earning revenue on the debit card spend because we're the card issuer. You're earning income that you're not having to charge this merchant for.
Right.
And that they would be doing with Wells Fargo or with Chase. So I think the banking is a really good place to start just because of all the other items that are tied to it.
That's kind of the core, right? And then once from there, you can kind of branch out. Are you seeing, are most people doing a true like integration into your software, or is it more, do y'all have the tools that people can not have a full integrated and still be able to use it?
Both, right? So we have a UI for all of this that people can come in and use, but for a lot of the larger opportunities, it's all API driven, right? And just for the automation, because if you're doing split disbursements, for example, and you're having to manually do that for all your merchants,
right,
that's not scalable.
Yeah.
Right. But if you have a system that you could tie into it to send all the instructions over, it becomes a really nice tool.
Let's say I'm a restaurant, I could say pay out my tips onto a virtual card, or pay my employees out on a virtual card.
You can pay them on a physical card.
Okay, physical card. Is that like, can be branded?
Yeah, you can. So there's the co-branding is a lot easier than just branding. Yeah. But yeah, that's one that I've talked to a lot of partners that are in the POS space about, right? Is, hey, you're a server, you check out at the end of the night, and you can have a screen that says, hey, you don't have to wait to get your check to get your credit card tips. Open up this account and we'll send them to you every time you close out.
And as a restaurant owner, probably don't have to go to the bank every morning anymore. I know when I used to serve, that was my cash,
Yeah,
but
same here.
I don't carry no cash anymore. So I think a card probably works.
No, same here. It was getting that cash. But a lot of people, it's all paid on their paycheck now. Right. And so you tie in the payroll to calculate and keep track of all the tax stuff, right? You tie in the passport accounts and they can get paid right when they leave. And again, now that server goes out and buys drinks after work, you just made some money, right? So by making their life easier.
One of the benefits of with Wells Fargo or some of these bigger banks, right, is opportunities for investment into whether it's an IRA or some kind of stock. Are they going to lose out that ability, or is that something that they still will have the ability to do?
No, they definitely have that ability with Passport, with their banking. So we have a couple different ways to do it today. We just have a standard, we call it a cash builder account, where you can put money in there. It's liquid, take it in and out as you need to, and you earn interest on it. And then there's treasury services where you can actually put your money into different money markets and get a higher interest on, depending on what they do. And then we have what's called a Cash Builder Plus account, where same thing, you put money in there, earn a higher interest, but there's just a minimum balance there where, as long as you keep that minimum balance in there, you'll earn that higher interest rate.
Do you see the day where they are combined? When you go sign up for processing, you use their banking, like it automatically, like you don't really have that choice. Now, like you said, it's a wallet. You can transfer it to go wherever you want. But that's just kind of the way it works now. Do you see that's where we're going, or do you see the time that that's going to happen?
No, I definitely think we're heading in that direction. Some of our partners are looking at doing that today. Now, obviously, if your merchant's like, no, send it to my account, we can do that, right? But that is definitely where we're headed, and I think where other processors that are doing banking are headed as well. Now, you get an account, this is where we're sending your money, and you kind of get to take it from there.
Yeah, I've heard of some other places where they even pay their ISOs out. Like they make their ISOs sign up, and that's how they get paid their residuals.
Yeah, some of our partners do it mainly because they're able to pay their downlines quicker.
Yeah.
Right. So if I
know that's something we've been looking into.
Yeah. So example, we pay Bold your residual into a Passport account, and then you have agents that also have Passport accounts. You could do a Passport to Passport payment. It's immediate and it's free. A lot of partners that have a very extensive downline, that's just financially good for them, right? It also gets people used to the banking portal, makes it easier for them to talk to their merchants about it. And yeah, I think that's another place that we're headed as well.
The only other piece that I want to ask about, because I can't tell you the last time I went inside my bank. So the concept of kind of having a virtual bank or not a traditional bank, to me is not that bad, because man, I don't even know how many years it's been since I went inside my bank. The only time I could think of that with is if I needed some kind of lending, right?
Yes.
So I would imagine with y'all seeing the data, y'all have to see the incoming from the processing, is there an opportunity for cash advance or lending opportunities?
100%. Yeah. So the one we have today, Priority Capital, and that's available to our merchants. Again, they log into their portal where they see their statements. Once we have 4 months of data, we kind of know who we can offer capital to, and they'll have a button there. They can click on it, see how much they're able to get, how much it's going to cost them. It's a little different from your traditional MCA. One, much lower rates, and it's like fixed fees, right? So it's, hey, you're going to...
more like a line of credit.
Yeah, and they can dip into it whenever they need to, right? So we can say, hey, you're pre-qualified for 100,000. And then they can say, all right, well, I need 25 because I'm doing this. And then as they're paying that back, hey, I need another 25, or I need 50, right? And can kind of hit it when they need to and see exactly what it's going to cost them ahead of time.
All in one platform, really.
That's exactly giving them one place to collect money, to store it, to lend, and to send money.
What else is out there that you're talking to partners about as far as revenue growth opportunities or different verticals out there that you're seeing?
So we have some really cool stuff in the construction space, in this like services space, that has a lot of AI built into it, as far as like for helping them do their estimates and their quotes and invoicing people, again, setting up accounts for different projects they're working on. We have MX Build, which is that's a whole product you could probably do a whole nother podcast on. But
it's a pretty impressive product.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and we've seen some excitement around that. You guys know all about this, but having your own point of sale helps a lot, right? Being able to have a product to get out there that you control, right? So we have a point of sale as well. As far as sending money, being able to give restaurant owners a way to access their credit, right? They may have vendors that do not accept credit cards that they have to pay out. We're giving them a way to pay those vendors with their credit card. They pay the platform, and we'll send them we'll ACH the vendor money or send them a check, however they want their money. But the merchant in the meantime is doing it on their credit card. Right. So giving them just ways to help them access some of their own existing credit is another tool that you see some excitement around, and again, it just drives value, right, for the merchant, where they're actually getting something out of it, right? It's not just, hey, I get to accept money. That's almost a commodity at this time.
That's right.
But this is just another additional tool that my provider is able to give me.
I think it also helps that race to zero, right? Like you mentioned earlier, if I'm just providing a standalone terminal, the next guy that comes in he's going to undercut me.
Yeah.
And it's always been that race to zero. But when you can add that value, we're, I almost say more of a partner.
An advisor.
Advisor, you're right.
And that's really our goal in a lot of the products that we're getting and putting together, and making it easier for our ISOs to explain it to their merchants and to sell it to their merchants, where, hey, now you're not just a sales organization selling a credit card terminal or selling rates. Now you're actually driving value and you're an advisor, right? Now your merchant's calling you about accessing capital. Now they're calling you about, banking tools, or just they're calling you about tools stuff outside of acquiring. Mm-hmm. They're not just calling you, hey, my batch didn't hit, but maybe they're asking you, hey, this is what I'm looking to do, or hey, I got some extra money and I want to do X, Y, and Z, and they might reach out to you and ask you about it, right? Because you've set them up financially with the tools they need.
And I would imagine, Tony, that y'all would help train. That's probably, and tell me, but I'd say that's one of the biggest issues that there is traditionally these are people that are not used to selling these kind of products.
100%.
And how do you bridge that gap? Y'all have done some webinars, but what do you see as most effective? Is it that y'all come in and help and pitch it, or seeing y'all sell it? What kind of methods have you seen that really help for the end seller to be able to push these products?
That's a really good question. If I'm thinking about the partners that I work with and the ones that are seeing the most success in selling some of these products, it started with them just truly asking questions and wanting to understand the product, mm-hmm. right? And us walking through that with them. And then they would have a prospect, right? And especially with the first few, I would hop on the call with them and different people at Priority. We would, set up calls to walk their prospect through how everything's going to look and how it can work. Once the ISOs kind of see it and kind of walk through it with us once or twice and really understand the tools, they kind of take it from there. Mm-hmm. I mean, the ISOs, once they understand how powerful certain things are, they get really creative, right? And that's actually been a really cool part of my job, to see how mm-hmm. everybody does things a little bit differently and what use cases they bring forward and kind of how they fall into opportunities or I mean, not fall into, but they work for them. It's been a really interesting thing to see, is just how creative people get, right? Even with the MX build, like we were talking about earlier, it's in the construction space. And we had ISOs, once they saw it and understood it, is, hey, can I use this for a catering company, right? Like, because they understand the use case and they know who they're talking to and what those people are looking to do. Once they kind of get an understanding of how different things work or what they can do with these products, they go to the moon with it.
That's what I love about this industry is, it's all ever changing.
Yeah.
The merchant processing 7-8 years ago, when I really got into just merchant processing, we did a lot of regular terminals where it was just your point of sale. And I think with the emergence of alternate payments and just all these other different things, the integration of banking and stuff, it's just really exciting to go. And I think we have to remind people that in a lot of countries, that's kind of how it already is. If you think about it, in China with, they basically use WePay, and that's their all in one solution. It's tied, it's their banking, it's their credit card, it's everything.
So and what we call it, we have our priority commerce engine, mm-hmm. right? And that's it as a whole. Actually, another colleague on the partner success management team, Kat, had made a comment, and it struck a chord with a lot of people, where the priority commerce is really e-commerce, mm-hmm. right? It's the ISO or the ISV. It's you can do with it what you want. You can come in and pull the acquiring piece in, pull mm-hmm. the spending piece, pull the capital piece, and maybe leave some of the other pieces until you need those.
It's kind of a build your own.
Yeah, exactly. You get to kind of choose your own adventure. Mm-hmm. So, but outside of acquiring, right? So if you may want to start with acquiring and payroll. You may want to start with issuing, mm-hmm. right? And then kind of pick your pieces. And we have some really good people on our team where we'll help you figure out what's the most beneficial for you, right? We can run numbers with you and show you what's gonna be the easiest for your system to integrate to, and we'll kind of walk you through the process to make sure that you're making the best decisions for what you're looking to do.
As we're wrapping up, Tony, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to, if there was anything else that you wanted to mention or leave off.
I appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you, Rob. I mean, we've been working with each other for a while now. It's great to see the growth that you guys have, and will continue to make the success you're having with your new products. Glad we can be a good partner for you. And look forward to many more years.
I just had my 7-year anniversary. It's 7 years of just payments. And so it's been a whirlwind, and everything that Priority's done to help I've been working with y'all since my day one.
Yeah.
Been a great opportunity. I appreciate you coming on here, talking about some of the newer products to build revenue. And we're definitely have you on again. Until then, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day. And we'll see you on the next Bold Bytes.
Bold Bytes, your bite-sized guide to payments.